is that experience like?
Well, I mean, you're effectively in jail, so...
You're in a juvenile facility?
Yeah, in a juvenile facility, but I mean, it's probably worse. You've got a lot of kids in there wanting to prove themselves, you know?
Okay.
You haven't got men in there who have established themselves as either crimbos or
Sure.
they're in there, they know they've made a mistake and they're in there just to serve time, keep their head down. You've got a load of kids who are angry. You've got a load of kids who don't know who they are. They have an identity crisis. They're missing God. They're missing male guidance in their life, you know? They haven't got any of these things, and yeah, you get in there and my state of mind was, wow, what is going on? At the time, I'm like, how did I end up, like, how the heaven did I get here?
Your life different before this deep relationship?
I think it was very stressful.
Okay.
It was extremely stressful. I need to be there at this time. I need to be there at this time. If I'm not there, what are they going to think? What is this person going to think of me? If I don't achieve this, I'm not going to amount to anything.
Okay.
If I don't achieve this, what are they going to think about me? How am I going to get that job if I can't pull this one off, etc., etc., etc.? Constantly stressed. You quickly, when you start having a relationship with God, understand that none of that matters at all. None of it makes a bit of difference, because I could win the lottery tomorrow and then get hit by a bus 5 minutes later. If I am not taking advantage of the very, very sacred and precious air that has been breathed into my body, the breath that has been given to me, every single minute living in this minute right here, right now, then I'm not living. I'm just not, you're not living. You're not doing anything. You're thinking about what's going to happen next week. Stop thinking about what's going to happen next week. Think about what's happening now. How grateful are you for this moment?
It feels like now, more than ever, people are questioning where they live, with many considering a big move. I am April Jackson, traveling the world, finding interesting people who have left behind comfort, certainty, and familiar systems for a life elsewhere. Riku O'Donoghue, or Chef Riku, is Irish-born. He is deeply spiritual and unapologetically honest. His journey abroad has taken him across America through the chaos of hospitality, COVID lockdowns, and a complete spiritual transformation that he never saw coming. He is now living here in South Africa, and we have lots to get into. But first, babes, how did you get here?
It's a very good question. Very long-winded one as well. So, so what brought me initially to South Africa was I've got a friend called Dion Meyer. For the locals, it's not the famous rider, it's the surfer. So I met this guy while I was doing some surfing and stuff, Bali, Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand. We ended up getting on very well. He'd never surfed in Ireland before. Ireland's got some of the best surfing on the planet in the northwest. And then we hit it off, and he said, have you ever been to Cape Town? And I'm like, no, but it's on the bucket list because it's on everyone's bucket list. So I arrived here in, like, when was it, 2012 initially, have a holiday, and then the holiday turned into to living here full time since then. So initially, you know, you come, you don't have a visa, like, oh, what do you do? Hospitality normally gives you the ability to work anywhere in the world. Obviously, everybody needs skilled chefs, especially when the culinary offering is getting higher and higher and higher all around the globe. With the Michelin Guide, the Best Chef Awards, and World's 50 Best literally hitting every shore in the world now. It was inevitable that the local sort of food scene was going to grow dramatically, and I saw that when I came here, and thought there was a gap in the market for me, and that was practically it. So I went back home after the initial holiday, and home at the time was Nottinghamshire in the UK, and made a plan to get out here. Started consulting, and then it ended up. Like immersed in the local restaurant scene as a main consultant for a lot of the big brands here. And then started doing some of my own stuff, which is like studio dinners and what have you. And then eventually opened a restaurant called Riku.
We're dropping new episodes every single week, so make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss this, babes. And leave a comment and tell me, what do you want to hear out of my next conversation? Your support really helps this community grow. And if you know someone who's quietly been thinking, should they take that next big leap? Babes, send them the podcast.
Chef's Counter, and now immersion as well. So I mean, not looking back, we've got a good handful of excellent, very high standard hospitality offerings in Cape Town, and that's kept me here, basically. Yeah.
I need you to take me all the way back.
Okay.
So, where in Ireland are you from? What is life like? Describe your childhood.
Okay, so initially back and forth into Ireland, Donegal, the area, and then moved to the UK when I was very, very small, actually. So I don't remember much about Ireland at all. I just remember, if I'm going to be honest, caravans and fields and grandparents, and actually quite a lovely little warm feeling surrounding that, actually, like protection, stability, all those sort of things. And then we get to the UK, and my father being a bit of a gypsy, as it were, we did quite a lot of traveling around the UK into different towns here, there, and everywhere. He wasn't around for very long. There's a little break in history where we don't know where he went, how he went, etc. That picks up much later in life, but at this point it was just, okay, he's not around anymore.
And how old are you roughly?
Around 5 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. And my little sister, 3 at the time as well. And then he's back a little bit, and then he's gone again, and there's not really a lot of talk of why in the house and whatnot. So, single parent, basically, my mother. We end up living solely with her for a little bit, and then we end up living with some other families eventually, and grandparents and whatnot, because life's hard. You have kids very young. She was 19 when she had me, and born when she was 20, but pregnant at 19.
Sure.
Must have been a very scary thing, So we toured the UK. Yeah, we went from Newcastle upon Tyne, Leicester, London, back up into the Midlands, Staffordshire, Derbyshire, Stoke, and then eventually sort of settled in Nottingham after a bit of an incident in Leicestershire when I was a kid. So I got in quite a lot of trouble at this one incident that happened, and there was I was 15 at the time, there was quite a big fight. It was like a gang thing. We lived in like public housing.
Sure.
We used to call it White City because every house was painted white and looked exactly the same. I got into a little bit of trouble with some local drug dealers, and then there was a bit of a scuffle, and a couple of people ended up really badly injured. Someone died.
From that fight?
Okay. There was prison sentences handed out to people, suspended sentences, etc., etc. So it was quite a thing. And then my mum's boyfriend at the time actually was like a bit of a godsend. He pulled us out of there because the house was getting vandalized and sprayed and set on fire and all kinds of stuff. And
your house?
Yeah, our house
was getting set on fire.
Yeah, it was getting.
You say it very casually. Yeah, we went to the supermarket and we came home with some apples.
Actually, we went to the hospital to get me stitched up. Pretty well, yeah, and they came back. I couldn't go back to the house because I was in custody, as it were.
Okay.
And the house was graffitied and set on fire, and windows broken, and it was a bit of a mad situation. So. Like a local gangster family, as it were, and you go up against that, and this is what happens.
Had you had issues with this local family before?
None, hey. So, like, weirdly enough, they just came with an accusation, and I'm like a 15-year-old boy at the time, and they were probably in between 17 and 24.
Sure.
This group of people, as it were, and I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And you end up with your house being vandalized, and you're in the hospital, then you're in police custody.
And then I'm in police custody, and then...
And then what happens?
And then I wait to go to court, and they won't give me bail because my father's linked. So this is Stuff starts coming out
Okay.
now. My father's linked to a bit of this and a bit of that he shouldn't have been into.
As in the dad that has come in and out that you don't really know where he is.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that comes to affect you.
That comes to affect me now. Yeah. So we can't put him out on bail because we don't know if you're going to be turning up at court when we need you to. And your father has a history of X, Y, and Z, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So now I'm like, okay. So I'm just sitting around for quite a while waiting for this thing to go to court.
How long is quite a while?
Quite a while goes up to a year. It goes up to 12 months.
That's not quite a while.
Yeah.
So you're waiting for 12 months at 15.
In custody. Yeah.
What is that experience like?
Well, I mean, you're effectively in jail, so...
You're in a juvenile facility?
Yeah, in a juvenile facility, but I mean, it's probably worse. You got a load of kids in there wanting to prove themselves, you know?
Okay.
You haven't got men in there who have established themselves as either crimbos or
Sure.
they're in there, they know they've made a mistake and they're in there just to serve time, keep their head down. You've got a load of kids who are angry. You've got a load of kids who don't know who they are. They have an identity crisis. They're missing God. They're missing male guidance in their life, you know? They haven't got any of these things. And yeah,
what was your state of mind?
My state of mind was, wow, what is going on? At the time, I'm like, how did I end up, like, how the heaven did I get here?
Yeah.
From that. I mean, I know I was a leery little guy. I was cheeky. But I was an intelligent kid. I tend to stay out of anything that was going to cause any major drama.
Sure.
Because Asperger's, we don't like to be, you know, in that kind of confrontation.
Sure.
Like, it's actually the opposite. We're looking for a little bit of peace. We may come across very forward and very to the point, but that's just because of how we're wired rather than an emotion being attached to how it's coming out, as it were, you know. And I went out and confronted the gang, as it were, not to confront them, but to get home. It was on the way, so I'm trying to leave this venue. So I'm just thinking, okay, how can I get out of this as quick as humanly possible? And then the next thing you know, everything just goes blank, and here we are. Now we're in a situation.
In that year, you're obviously full-time, you're in jail waiting. You know the date, or does the date change?
No, dates keep changing.
So you have this immediate uncertainty of not knowing when you're actually going to...
Yeah, or if I'm going to get out at all, because I don't know what kind of evidence is being produced against me.
Right.
There's a one of me. You know, I don't know what they're saying, etc. And I mean, not to sort of shorten it and disregard sort of all the lessons learned, but you come to the end, and the end basically worked out with getting time to leave the facility to be able to spend on house arrest, obviously, a little bit of time with some family.
Okay.
And then going back in. And then eventually, none of the stories, these other 8 parties that were involved, added up at all. And they all had a different thing to say, different statement, etc., etc. The police did really well at keeping everyone apart and not allowing people to collude and make a story. And they ended up throwing it out of court because none of it made any sense. Yet
after a year,
yeah, with no compensation and no nothing. Yeah, just cool.
But you're 15.
I was 15, so I was actually 16 by the time that they said yeah. And because of the nature of the crimes in the circle of people that were in it, we were more than likely going to get trialed as adults as well. So I felt like I was being protected.
Wow.
Yeah, that was mad.
But it's also like such a crucial time in your childhood.
Yeah.
You know when you said you got to go home for a little bit on house arrest?
Yeah.
Was that a good thing? I'm just thinking, right? A part of me is like, great, you get to spend some time.
Yeah.
But knowing that that time is temporary for you to have to return, I was wondering, does that make it harder or does it make it easier?
Yo, it's a very good question, that, because some days it was easier.
Okay.
Some days it wasn't. Some days it was like, oh, you're dangling a carrot at me sort of thing, you know what I mean? But some days it was the only thing that got me through.
Okay.
You know, some days it was the only thing that got me through, especially when I was allowed to see like my granny and grandfather from my father's side. Yeah, because they're like a good Irish family. take care of their own sort of thing, you know what I mean, and the food. So I was just looking forward to a roast dinner and a can of Guinness sort of thing, you know what I mean. So yeah, it was something to look forward to, and in all of this, it's like all I was ever sort of repeating to myself was how grateful I am that I've got my health still.
Okay.
Like that, some of the outcomes that did happen there didn't happen to me.
Yeah.
I didn't fall in that that space, and I'm still here to tell the tale, and thank the Lord for the lessons that come with that as well, because even though it seemed like a bit of a story then, and seemed like something that was like, very bad and very aggravating and very anxiety promoting, as it were, without that scenario, I can pinpoint 10 places in my life that wouldn't have happened if that hadn't have happened. And they are very crucial points in development, and very crucial points in basic self-knowledge and basic self-understanding. So I was definitely on the wrong path.
Before this?
Before this happened. And that happened, and it completely changed the trajectory due to me seeing what was actually available to me in terms of love and support.
Okay.
I didn't understand that before. You take it for granted.
Yes.
And then this happened, and I really saw a family. That's what I ended up seeing, especially when you come from a family which is split and isn't functioning like a traditional family. And your father's a little bit of a gangster, and et cetera, et cetera. And all of these things come to sort of pass later on in life, and, things start clicking, things start making sense. But then you've got then the responsibility card's given to you, okay? And this is the big thing. It is, okay, you know these things, you know what you're capable of, you know what you're good at, you know what you're bad at, you know what you want to do. But here's a responsibility card for you, because now you have a responsibility to do these things that are being whispered to you, that are being given to you, that are being shown to you. And if you keep on the trajectory that you're on, you weren't going to do any of those things. All you were going to do actually is end up in the place that you got a little taste of. So here we are. Now it's on you.
What happens to schooling in that time?
You get schooled.
You do?
Yeah.
So when you leave at 16,
yeah.
What is the next?
Okay, so I had to redo I had to sit my GCSEs.
Okay.
So I didn't get to sit during the court process and all that kind of stuff. You would just go to normal lessons.
Right.
But I couldn't sit an exam until they knew exactly what was going on.
Okay.
So I had to wait until after, which I think gave me a little bit of an advantage. I'm not going to lie. I did very well in the GCSEs.
Amazing.
And then did very well in A-levels after that. And then I didn't want to continue doing anything academic, so I thought, but I was doing a chemistry degree.
Okay.
That was my thing. I was like, okay, chemistry, physics, math, sciences, music. They were all the things that I loved, more than anything. And what ended up happening as a result of being from a family who isn't well off is get a job. So next stage is to get a job. Got a job. It just so happens it's in a kitchen. I start washing dishes, as you do, to like the ironic story from the chef, as it were. But this is just down the road from my house, and it was the first time I'd ever seen anything on a plate that wasn't just a piece of meat and a potato and a bit of sauce or whatever, for the sake of nutrition.
Sure.
For the sake of, we have to live, let's eat this. So now I'm observing food, and when we eat out, like if we ever eat out, you go to a McDonald's or something like that, complete crap. Like, but that's I guess the economic class that you're in. So that's where you are, right? And that's what you understand. We still in the economic class, but now my classism-wise, when it comes to food, is now getting tanked up a little bit, because I've gone to this restaurant, and it just so happens it's a major award-winning restaurant in the middle of nowhere, and I wouldn't have known anything about this. Get the job,
And to be clear, you're getting this job just because you need a job, not because you are pursuing hospitality as a career.
Definitely not as a career. Yeah. In fact, people are telling me like, "Are you mad?" You know.
Okay.
You know, that's like 70, 80 hours a week, and the chefs normally abuse you and all this kind of stuff, etc. And I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean? I've been through some stuff. I'll be fine. So I end up, washing dishes, peeling vegetables, etc.
And this is still in Nottingham?
This is in a place called, Leicestershire. So it's on the border of, it's Rutland actually, which is a tiny little county in between Nottingham and Leicester, as it were, right? So it's this stately home sort of hall thing. Everything's very posh. Everyone's dressed very well. I turn up in a Komodo because I'm like, I like the look of the Japanese jacket. He's like, no, that's not going to work, sort of thing. I end up on a section eventually. And this guy... can I mention names?
Of course.
Yeah. So Aaron Patterson, a very well-known chef in the UK, is the first male in my life at this point, other than my father's dad, my grandfather, who takes me under his wing and he starts teaching me how to do things that I'm naturally good at, it appears. So I get hooked. And I get a taste for something that's bigger than me, because I can see a team working together here to get a small result. What seems small to the person who is sitting there and paying for it, but it's taken 16 bodies to get that one plate exactly where it is. And when I say 16 bodies, I mean the guy washing the dishes, the guy peeling the carrot, the guy peeling the shallot, the guy making the gas streak. And then all of these little pieces of this puzzle come together and it creates this, what could have been hung on a wall. You know what I mean? Like, it's that sort of food. He's a Michelin star revolutionary chef of his day. And I think it was one of the opportunities again that when the Lord presents it, you got to follow it, man. Like there's so many opportunities that get dangled in front of you purposely, so you can test yourself. There's always a path, and you always veer off, slightly, because we do everything through an egotistical point of view, especially when you're young. It's only later when you understand, by taking your hand off the steering wheel and allowing him to do it for you, life becomes much easier. But I'm going through my learning curves, etc. And now I want to be this top chef. I want to be this. What's the right way of saying it? I want to be this forefront leader of some new cuisine that doesn't exist or whatever, because all these other people are are heroes, as it were. So I want to be one of these heroes. Like, why do I want to be one of these heroes? Because I don't really know what I want to do at the time. I've not really amounted to much in any other thing that I've done. So maybe I can be really good at this. Maybe this is the one thing I can be really good at.
And what does it take in your mind when you've settled on, this is what I want to do?
Yeah.
Are you clear on how to get there?
I am now. Then definitely not.
Okay.
No. As a 16, 17-year-old boy still, I don't think you've got any idea. You are literally just ticking off, what looks glamorous to you, and chasing a bit of cash, because the higher you get in the kitchen, the more money's going to come with it, the more opportunities are going to open up, etc. So, the aim was just to be get noticed. It was to be the best in there and get noticed. And I started treating everything like it was a sports day. Like, every day was like a sports day. So I'd get there the earliest. I'd start grabbing all the equipment that I needed before anyone else got there, so I didn't have to wait for stuff.
Had you always been disciplined? Because that takes discipline, right?
Yeah.
To turn up early, to make sure you're going to go the extra mile and keep your head down.
I think discipline is a different... So when I was much younger, I was a lot less socially able.
Okay.
So I don't think it was discipline when I was young. I think it was more just you turn on the "that's what I'm going to do" button as someone who's neurodivergent, as it were, and that's just it. So it's the routine is comfort in routine. It's not actually discipline for us. It's more, if we don't do it, it's going to send us off the charts a little bit. We're not going to know what to do with ourselves. It makes us feel very uncomfortable. So the whole purpose of the routine is to stop you from feeling uncomfortable and out of control. So actually, it was very easy. It's the easiest. Oh, now I'm going to do that. I know I'm going to be there at 6:45. I know I'm going to do this. This is going to be the second job that I do. Then I'm going to go to this. So you write your mise en place list, but you don't just write it for what you need to do. You write it how you're going to walk in the place, how you're going to set up. And that gives you an advantage when you work in a kitchen. It gives you a big advantage. It gives you an advantage because you are not obsessing, so you're taking an emotion out of it. Therefore, you're not wavering. Your knees aren't shaking at any point because you don't have a belief system.
It's just systematic.
You're just going through it. You're reading recipes. You're looking at recipes and you're tasting, and then what you're doing is you're altering recipes based on what you know chef wants to taste. So, okay, he likes a little more salt in this particular thing. He likes to offset that with a particular acid. You take the notes, you write them in, and you basically memorize all this stuff, and then everything that you do after that, you end up doing for him, as it were. And that's what I found out very quickly. I'm not in here to please myself here. I'm not making a dish for me. I'm making it by his spec and only his. His opinion doesn't matter. His opinion doesn't matter. Her opinion doesn't matter. It's literally, if he says it's all go, then it's all go, as it were. And that gets you looked down a lot on in a kitchen space, actually.
Oh.
It did back in the day anyway, because it looks like you're kissing ass.
You mean amongst your peers?
Amongst your peers, yeah.
Okay.
Like, oh, this guy, he's coming in early, he's getting all his stuff done, he's working through his breaks, he's coming and asking other people if
you're
we need
making
a
everyone
hand.
look bad, babes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are when I say hating that, they're like, like this guy's a bit of a douchebag, let's start giving him some problems sort of thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let's take action.
Let's take action, yeah. So these things were happening, and you know what, the guy, he turned around to me and he said, listen, these guys, they're never going to be what you are. I was going to take you all the way, but you're not going to survive here, dude, because you're too soft.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, you're too soft, dude. I was like, what do you mean by soft? He's like, no, you got to give people some shit. It's like if someone's coming on your section and purposely stitching you up, you don't come to me and complain.
Okay.
Because that's like grassing.
Yeah.
You need to give him some shit. You need to take him outside and like give him what I'm like beat him. He's like, no, not beat him. He's like, just tell the guy.
I don't want to have to beat you
this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to beat your ass. So you're gonna pack it in now. And I'm like, okay. So how do I do that? And he's like, I've got to send you somewhere.
Really?
I'm like, oh, here we go. So he said, your next studies, you said, are in London anyway, right? I was like, yes. So why don't we see if we can get you something there? And I'm like, oh, okay. So this guy's literally, he didn't have to do that.
No.
He didn't have to do anything, actually. He could have just been like, no, just stay. Like, we need you on the section.
Right.
What I found with that guy, and, he taught me a valuable lesson, actually, and he set me up for life, this lesson, which is never cling to people that you think are building this bridge with you, and you need them to make the bridge stay where it is. There'll be other pegs, there'll be new technology, there'll be other bricks that you have to insert to repair. Once you have reached your target in that position, you have to let them move on.
Yeah.
You've got to let them go, because otherwise they stagnate. And if you have a kitchen full of stagnant people, you are never going to get any better.
Right.
Because despite what you think, everybody in that kitchen, despite whether you're in charge or not, is contributing to your menu. Whether you think it's all your ideas, it's complete bollocks. You'd have seen them do something subconsciously and gone, that's a great way of doing this, etc., etc., because they all had kitchens before you as well, most of them. So it's that rising tide floats all boats scenario. That if they're coming up with you, got to let them go, man. You got to let them sail off on their own at some point. You can't go. If you try and grip a kitten, it's going to jump out of your arms.
Right.
So rather than going down like that, just assimilate the attitude of when you've reached that peak, or when someone's reached that peak around you, let them move on. It's time, actually.
At the time, did it feel like rejection, or did you have this feeling?
Well, it felt like rejection initially when he said it, and like rejection's triggering at this point as well. But then when he explained it,
Okay.
I got it. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, like the only thing you can do is now go to like source or whatever. And to be fair, this is like a manor or whatever. You want some modern stuff. You got like this chemistry vibe going on,
Yes.
etc. Like go work somewhere very cool. So I applied, got references, etc. He pulled a couple of strings for me. I ended up with Marco Pierre White.
Okay.
Wheelers, St James in London. Nuts.
What does that mean?
Nuts. So I thought Hambleton Hall was nuts
Right.
in terms of militant
Okay.
compliancy, in terms of the way people spoke to each other, in terms of the competition,
Right.
in terms of preciseness, you know. And you go and work with Marco for I was 4 days in, and I knew, I was like, okay, this is what you call an
Serious.
upgrade, as it were. So I'm taking a lower position, actually. I'm going back to being a commis chef.
Okay.
But I can see why. So Marco taught me resilience. That's what Marco taught me. Yeah. He was a very interesting character. He is an interesting character. He is extremely intelligent, extremely passionate, very well versed, very well read, has a lot of good moral conduct, and that was a very awesome thing to see in somebody. He wasn't around all the time because he had Francis running the restaurant at the time, but he was always there as a patron. And then now and again you'll get to see him do something in the kitchen or whatever, which is amazing. But he would come in, he would give pep talks, he would talk to his staff, he will do trainings and stuff like that. So this depiction I had of him, which was this major scary geezer who made Gordon Ramsay cry like a baby, etc., etc. I'm thinking, is this for me? You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's see. And he was a valuable teacher, and again, very, very grateful for everything he ever did. Because again, none of these people need to. They don't need to do anything for you, and
Describe a service to me where I feel like every chef has one particular service that is either going to make or break them. And I'm just interested.
You've had a few of those, yeah.
I'm interested to know what one of yours looked like.
Okay, so one very stressful service was I was helping an Italian chef on pastry out. I'd finished my prep, and the order of the commodity, as it were, is you finished your prep, you go help somebody else.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, Gio, we getting gone with the soufflés? He's like, yeah, cool, you can whip the egg whites.
Okay.
So I'm whipping the egg whites. He's doing something else. I'm like, okay, can I do something else? He's like, no, I'll do the syrup that's going to go in the Italian meringue eventually. I said, no, I've got it. He's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, cool. So I read the recipe, I'm doing it, everything works out fine. It's a beautiful, beautiful meringue. He looks at it, he's like, that's beautiful, absolutely fantastic. I'm like, awesome, here we go. Then he's got his creme pat ready and his puree ready. So he mixes something quickly and says, just like that. So I'm like, okay, he's not measuring it, he's just using his eye.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so it
Just
wants to
like
be
that?
about that colour. Great. Creme pat, stabilise the egg white, puree, lecker, looks good. Piping bag. This is where it gets dubious. Because when you put whipped meringue in a piping bag and you pipe it out, extra air goes into the meringue.
Yeah.
So there is a very particular way you must put the egg whites in the bag and a very particular way that you must pipe it out. I do the piping anyway.
Okay.
And I smooth off the tops, and I do the rim and all that stuff. The technical you can ask after, and they go in the fridge to set.
Yep.
So it's one of those set souffle mixes, so it doesn't collapse in the fridge. You can just get it out and pop it in during service, as it were. So they're all made now. He doesn't check, so he makes a mistake by not checking.
Right.
I make a mistake because I'm not being told everything that all the process I'm supposed to go through. I'm just going off what it says on the paper.
Right.
But there are reasons that recipes don't work for everybody, and that's because sometimes when chefs write out a recipe, they write it out so they know what's going on.
Yes.
Not everybody in the kitchen needs to know what's going on, because it's a kind of secretive little spell book that we've got there, as it were, right? So everything looks great, but the colour's not right.
Oh.
So when we get one out, he's like, "Oh, I don't think that's enough puree in there." And I'm like, "Are you sure? Because it's the same amount that you put in." And he went, "Yeah, but like, look." And I'm like, "Okay, it is a bit darker. It is a bit darker." But I was like, "I didn't know how much you put in." And he's like, "Oh, look, 2 spoons." And well, yeah, okay, cool. 2 spoons. That's what I put in. 2 spoons. Okay, well, it's not right. So we'll serve it though, because it looks beautiful, but it's just slightly not the right colour. So next time, just a little bit more, but it won't be a train smash.
Okay.
I'm like, cool. What had happened while it was in the fridge is the bottom of the souffle had started to split in the mould itself because of too much aeration.
Yes.
So he asked me how I put it in the piping bag, and I just say exactly like that. So he's like, no problem, cool. I finished everything in the piping bag, so there's nothing there to go on. There's nothing for him to look at and see if it's correct or not.
Right.
Anyway, Marco is in the restaurant with someone.
Oh, no.
I can't remember exactly who it is, but it's another quite famous chef.
And they've ordered the soufflés.
They've ordered the souffle,
Oh, Lord.
one of them, and a lemon tart, classic lemon tart, brulee top. I'm not on the section anymore, obviously. I'm back on Gourmet Manger, and Mady sends this souffle out, and Marco comes in with the souffle in his hand, and he throws the souffle across the kitchen, smashes on the wall, and then he starts screaming, shouting, etc., etc. And then he's calm.
Right.
Then he's like, okay, talks to Gio, and Gio's like, yeah, chef, sort of thing. And then he's looking at me like I'm a piece of shit, sort of thing. He's like, you stitched me up. And I'm like, oh, great, here we go. And then one of the senior chefs comes in, he goes in the drawer, he grabs hold of the whole thing, and he basically hoists the whole lot against the wall and then stuff, because shit rolls downhill. So Marco's gone to who's in charge, and he's said, what's going on here? If you've got junior chefs helping out on sections, it's your duty to be there to make sure
double check.
And to teach them. So
did Gio throw you under the bus?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got thrown on the bus so bad it was unreal. Which, didn't end in smiles and cheers for me, as it were, because again, it's like you're getting involved and you're not asking questions every step of the way. That's your responsibility, actually, if you're helping out.
Sure.
And I'm like, I get that, But that was one of the, it sent Gio down. It sent him crumbling down, because you can't now say souffle's off because I fucked it up. Make a plan, get it back on the menu. So now he's trying to get all these plates out and
fix his soufflés.
At the same time. So I made it very stressful for him during service. As a result of that, people are having to now come off their sections mid-service to help out in other sections, because there's a roll-on effect, right? So now there's a big hoo-ha. And then a few of us decide that when it gets a little bit quieter, we're going to start messing around and playing games and stuff, etc., etc. It was just a bad day. It was a bad day at the office. And then we get caught, and then I'm not going to go into great detail, but there was some discipline had, and there was a little bit of a physical altercation with a couple of people at one point as well. And then I got used to this behaviour.
Okay.
You get used to seeing it. Okay, they're going to fight, or he's going to punch him, and then they're going to make up, and this one's just going to walk through here. And then other kitchens, you go for stages and stuff. You see people just like the owners wandering through with a cigarette on through mid-kitchen and stuff. Honestly, the beginning of the 2000s was mental in kitchens, and I'm sure the 90s was even worse. But it was just a wild environment. It was an environment which I understood very quickly to be full of artists who didn't make it.
Okay.
People who had been to prison. People who had been locked up for petty crime.
Right.
People who had been locked up for heinous stuff and then discovered themselves
Kitchens.
and... come out and ended up getting a job because they're the best at peeling, baby onions at 100 miles an hour or whatever. You know what I mean? They've like all this opportunity comes for all these people that are coming from the same place, which is a place of no stability, a place of no confidence, a place of no parents, no structure at home, no schooling, etc. They were like the renegades. They were like the the Injustice for All team, as it were. You know what I mean? And made up of very diverse individuals from very diverse backgrounds. And there's probably only 2 or 3 English people in the kitchens at the time as well. It was made up of Irish, Jamaicans, Somalians, Italians, French, Spanish, you know what I mean? It was like a mishmash of Europe and then just extended onto the African continent and into, maybe into your Middle Eastern at the time, maybe a few, and then a heavy Indian population as well. So, like spot the white guy sort of thing in a lot of these scenarios, or spot the Englishman anyway. And what was really funny about that is everyone had a common denominator at the time, which was England sucks, but we're all here to make money sort of thing. We all hate the English. We don't know why. Probably colonization, whatever, and they're all a bunch of racists or whatever at the time because there was a lot of that stuff going on. And we had this little culture or a little camaraderie of, we're like the foreign rejects that have, come to, add to Britain's culinary quarter and, to, make it something that it hasn't been before and have all this foreign influence in the food and whatnot because you guys think you can make a stew, but you can't make it as good as my granny sort of thing and all that sort of stuff, So getting together in an environment like that with people who have a similar outlook on life, but from very different circumstances, was a very, very, very cool thing to be involved in, actually.
Do you think that kitchens of that time needed to be harsh, right? I feel that sometimes, not just with hospitality, but in general, we are looking at the past with the current lens. Yeah. And I think that sometimes that does a disservice to the circumstances at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of people think that hospitality, is wrong for being so harsh, or, the idea that someone comes in and throws something against the wall, oh my goodness. Whereas maybe it's the Jamaican in me, but I'm just like, that's what maybe at the time was required in order to get the result that was needed.
I hear you. So like a very funny fact about the Jamaican language, I don't know if you know, is it came from the petty immigration from Ghana, which wasn't Ghana at the time, and Nigeria, right? And Irish slaves all banding together and making their way from New York, laying the train tracks down, actually, all the way down to Fort Lauderdale. And then we commandeered some ships and got the hell out of Dodge. Ended up in Jamaica together, and the language is very much systematically woven in a lot of Irish
so online, people ask me all the time, at least once a week, if I'm Irish.
Right.
And I'm just like, and then apparently I sound like I could be from Cork.
Yeah, from Cork, yeah. So that's where most of the slaves at the time from Ireland joined the African slaves that were being taken over as well. So while you guys were getting sold as house labor, we were getting sold as like track laborers and ground surveyors and woodworkers and keeping everybody alive.
Right.
So they had like different departments for different slaves, as it were.
Okay.
They had some Spanish guys, so the Spanish slaves that they were taking over there as well, they were like criminals. So if they were locked up and they were taking tax out of anyone's pocket to keep them in jail, they were like, no, we're going to get you working. So they were sailing the ships.
Okay.
And what have you. So it's a very, very funny history, actually. But a lot of the words, a lot of the terminologies, and a lot of the what's the right way? The catchphrases come from this sort of very, very old Irish and North African integration, I guess. And
It's
that,
crazy.
yeah, it's just nuts, yeah. But we have the same sort of outlooks on life.
I
which
always
is-
say we get on with the Irish.
Yeah. It's you know you can't really make us blink twice. You know, we got this hardness about us, which isn't like a hardness. Like don't get me wrong. Like we don't want to fight every 2 minutes. But, you know, we're not like it's not like Braveheart. We don't want to run into battle and kill the English every 2 minutes or whatever it is, or anyone else. So I'm not picking on the English today. It's just a case of, you know, we've been through a bit of harshness, man. You know what I mean? We've had famines, we've had slavery, we've had an apartheid. We still have an apartheid. That hasn't stopped. Northern Ireland still exists. There's still a religious conflict there. There's still a English versus island conflict there while they occupy land that isn't theirs.
Okay.
As a country that isn't theirs, in a country that isn't theirs, you know? And there is still a little bit of grievance between or from the Irish in that because, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to have a passport to get into your own country.
Okay.
When you're crossing a border into the UK. It doesn't make any sense to them still. However many...
So you don't have the
conversations-
same passport?
No, so you have an Irish passport.
Oh, really?
And then a British passport.
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yeah, but you can live in Northern Ireland with a British passport, but you can't live in the Republic Island with a British passport because Ireland's Ireland, but Northern Ireland is part of the UK. They still own that part of Ireland. Yeah,
Okay.
but it got much smaller because obviously we pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and it just ended up that we say a little section, but it's a third of the country, man. It's a
Okay.
third of the country that's owned by England.
Do you think that will ever change?
No, I mean, I'd love to say yes. I'd love to say yes just because of the sheer fact of, like, let's do something right for a change,
Right.
you know? But if a third of Ireland is in the UK, that's a lot of tax money that they'll be giving up, eh?
Okay.
So a lot of tax they'll be giving up, a lot of industry they'll be giving up. You know, one of the central sort of trade lines is from Belfast to New York.
Right.
So if they give up all of that stuff, you know, yeah,
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
nah, it's not going to happen. No.
So-
Not while there's a monarchy, that's for sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a whole section.
Yeah.
But growing up, I know that you said you left Ireland very
Yeah.
young. Do you think that there was a difference to how you were received? Again, this is coming from my perspective,
Yeah.
where I barely know how to detect the difference between accents in the UK.
Right.
Like, it's all
You didn't go further enough north. That's
No,
all that means.
it's all very confusing. So
Yeah.
from my perspective, I'm like, oh, you guys are all just one, right?
Right, yeah.
In the same way that people make anything that's other is homogenous, which you know isn't true
Yeah, for sure.
intellectually, but
Yeah.
you don't necessarily understand the nuances.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you come to England
Yeah.
as a child, are you having a different experience because you're not English?
100%, yeah.
Really?
So let's go into modern day history now and,
Right.
and then tone it back, as it were, and then go back there. So because of my surname, O'Donoghue, and the way
Yes.
that it's spelt, especially the Gaelic spelling of it, right? That Gaelic spelling comes from very old sort of gypsy families in and around Europe,
Right.
Irish travellers.
Okay.
Pikeys, I can say it, but no one else can, sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's one of those words. So they see it, they assume you're a pikey, a derogatory term for a traveller
Okay.
of Irish origin. And they assume because of that, there's going to be stealings and there's going to be room getting turned upside down, drinking, fighting, all that kind of stuff, drugs, dog fights, hen fights, barefoot knuckle boxing, all the stereotypes you can possibly throw at it. So if you're making a hotel reservation or anything like that, or a reservation in a restaurant, it has been known a lot for people just to cancel the booking.
Really?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. And then there was one huge thing in the UK which they tried to sort of brush under the carpet, which was Irish families trying to go to places like Pontins and Butlins and places like that, which are little British holiday camps
Okay.
on the seaside resort towns, right? And they were cancelling Irish families left, right and galore. And the question came out, like, why is this happening? And they were like, well, we just don't think like the travelling community can be trusted and like a lot of these families aren't travellers. They're just Irish people that have settled in
Right.
the UK. But even that, what you're doing is you're saying, oh, because you're a traveller, you're going to act a certain way. So, I mean, that's racist. Doesn't matter what way you look at it. It is what it is. And then if you're tarring everyone with the same brush as a result of a culture, that's exactly what we're talking about here, right? And, yeah, you get cancelled, man. And then at school, obviously, oh, my dad says that, blah, 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 O'Donoghues, you're a bunch of pikeys, we got to watch our wheels and etc. So, fights break out at school. You end up, so funnily enough, all of my friends at school, every single one, they were either, they're either from Ghana, Nigeria, Jamaica, or Ireland, obviously, India and Pakistan. That was it. I was part of that
Everyone
crew.
else who was othered.
Everyone who was an other, exactly, yeah. So you end up in that crew, and which was amazing for me, actually.
Okay.
It was absolutely amazing for me. The diversity, for one. Two, the solid connections that you make with people that you find commonalities with, not based on your skin tone.
Right.
That makes a big difference. I'm friends with you because you're white. How does that make any sense in any logical? It doesn't. What are your musical interests? What are your
Right.
spiritual interests? What do you like to eat? What do you like to do outside of school, etc., etc.? They should be all the things that we're actually taught to look at, the familiarities in people that can grow the best in you, as it were. And you don't get told that. And then you got your Irish family at home who are also racist. They're like, oh, you're hanging around with too many of them black fellas, you know what I mean? Like, they've got a bit of a bad reputation around here. And I'm like, so do we. In fact, it's worse. Like, if we drive down the road in a caravan, everyone's going to start throwing like mud and spitting and what have you at us. So I just didn't really get it. And I really, really honed into those communities, especially Indian, actually.
Okay.
I had a best friend, or a group of best friends, actually, but like one of them, Pratap, amazing guy. I ended up staying with him for quite a long time, him and his mother. And his mum used to make this unbelievable, they don't call it curry. Curry is something that we call it in the West. It just means gravy.
Right.
Indian food has a lot more complexities and a lot more history and a lot more diverse sort of cooking and dishes available. And even their vegetarian dishes have like 15 times more flavor than most cuisines and what have you. So it was like, as someone in culinary eventually, growing up around stuff like that, you got this little thing in the back of your mind all the time going, why aren't we doing some Indian influence here or whatever, Or I had amazing jerk chicken at my friend Scott's house, who I ended up living with later on in life. Why are we not using jerk spices in foods? Why are we not using, this Kashmiri spice blend? Why are we not using Indonesian spices? And because that's where all the fun foods are, man. The thing that make your mouth tickle. You know what I mean? So I think I was very lucky. I think I was extremely lucky to, and again, it did this always brings me back to the gratitude I have when I sit with the Lord in the mornings, and I have my gratitude ceremony, and I say thanks for everything that I have, and that is one of them. That path of diversity, that path of seeing things in somebody else's shoes, that path of having a lot of different multicultural based friendships was something that made me, I guess, a little bit different to a lot of people that I was hanging around with at the time. And those relationships ended up stopping somewhat because you change very quickly when you're around other people from other places. That's why they say traveling is the best thing you can do. If you want to expand your horizons, if you want to live outside of your body a little bit, if you really want to connect with your spirit, you need to travel. You need to go see other people in their cultures. You need to immerse yourself in that, because that's the only way to learn anything, really. Everything else doesn't matter. This microphone, this table, what we're wearing, none of it is going to matter in the end. The only thing that is going to matter in the end is like our souls and our spirits and how they are. And you get that through relationship. And relationship if you're having relationships for the sake of relationships, if you're having relationships with people who are like you just to be safe, if you are doing anything in safety, you're never learning, you are never growing. So I think cultural diversity is one of those things that is completely necessary for every single soul on this planet. I think we are here to discover how to be a little bit different and how to feel somebody else's pain, even for 5 minutes, you know, or somebody else's beauty as well. And amalgamate that and use that for, you know, life lessons and use that to trajectory into the right places and you know, pick the right goals. So I do feel very grateful and very lucky for that. But yeah, that was basically me. So I grew up in a school that was very split in diversity, which was great. It wasn't sort of 50% this and 50% that either. It was literally like 25% white, 25% Indian, 15% Pakistani, 15% Jamaican, etc., etc. It was very mixed. And it used to be chaos, man. It used to be absolute chaos because you'd have this group versus that group and this group versus that. And I don't even mean like in a physical altercation, bullying sort of way. It's just like you can just see, you can just feel it. It's like, yeah, they don't gel with them. They don't like them. They don't like me. I do like them, though. I'd like to hang out with them, but they're not going to hang out with an Irish dude. So you just got to find your place. You know what I mean?
Did you stay at the same school?
Yeah, stayed at the same school for most of my schooling life. So the one that was in Leicestershire was Garendon, and then we went on to, it was Rawlins, which was in Quorn, and that's where the incident happened, and I had to leave there and what have you. But yeah, mostly the same schooling beforehand. Right at the beginning, it was very, like, in the north of England, like north of England, very, very white.
Okay.
Very, very white, very English. So I can remember there not really getting any integration, not really having many friends whatsoever. In fact, one friend that I made was actually from Sweden.
Okay.
And he was my friend for like 3 years while I was up there, and that was practically it. His name was Sean. Well, we called him Sean because we couldn't pronounce his name. But yeah, very, very, very funny looking back. But as a child, you know, I didn't know who I was or who I was supposed to belong to or anything, because it wasn't an easy like plug-in fit anywhere that we went. And also the traveling thing, when you're traveling around everywhere, you never have like long enough to sort of sit there and, you know, get yourself a friend that you're gonna, you know,
grow with.
Yeah, grow with, exactly. Yeah.
You talk a lot about religion and how it influences your life.
Yeah.
And you said to me that it was a transformation. But at the same time, we've highlighted how much religion tends to play a role in Irish culture. So I'm just interested to know your personal journey.
Okay. So growing up Catholic, as many will be able to give me some sympathy for, as it were. The problem's religion for me. Okay, so religion over relationship.
Okay.
So that's where the change happens. But I'll start at the beginning. So you're integrated into religious foundations, as it were. Okay, which a lot of them are fantastic. A lot of them have a lot of moral, one, diversity, and two, complexity about them. But they sit in a place where you know in your heart, yes, if I do that, that's obviously the right thing to do.
Right.
And that's how we know, you know, good and bad is integrated into it. You don't need a book to tell you what's good or bad, right? It's a feeling. It's a discernment, as it were. So you grow up in the Catholic Church. You go through all the Catholic stuff. It's very cult-like. It's very up, down, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir. How many Hail Marys do I have to say? How many Our Fathers do I have to say to counteract this sin that I've committed? Why am I confessing? Why am I in trouble if I'm not confessing? Why are the priests a little bit weird, if I'm going to be honest with you?
What do you mean?
Like a little bit touchy-feely, a little bit weird, a little bit too close for comfort, asking too many personal questions, wanting too much alone time with you, etc., etc.
Right.
Well, they're looking for weak people. That's what they're looking for. And they're hiding in religion, and they're using it as a tool for their own means. And that's what I found about my experience, personal experience with the Catholic Church. I'm not saying that that's everyone's experience of it. I'm sure that people have a beautiful time in that religion, because it is a beautiful religion when practiced right. But for me, it was the religious aspect. It was the, I'm going to be what if I do what? I'm going to be judged by God if I don't do what? If I don't follow this protocol, if I don't eat this in the correct way, if I don't say this beforehand, if I don't use this correct wording. And when you're guided through the Bible in Catholicism, you were guided through it in a way where it's a path of fear, and it's a path of disconnect with the Lord, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's I'm not worthy.
Okay.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. You're worthy. You're always being trodden on, rather than being uplifted. And that was where my spiritual turning happened, as it were. So coming out of religion into relationship, and without getting sort of, well, I mean, I can. Okay, so I had an experience with Jesus where, and when this happens to people, it's a very, very crazy thing, because you don't know it's happening, and then you're like, hold on a minute, is this happening? It's not an obvious thing. He doesn't rock up in robes, long hair, pearly blue eyes, glimmering white skin, obviously. Speaking Aramaic, and you just get it, etc., etc. Right? It doesn't happen like that. This is a purely sort of spiritual entity, but you just know. You know who it is, because you feel at peace. You feel as soon as the peace comes, and you're like, I can breathe. You know what I mean? Like I do not feel like I'm being visited by extraterrestrials right now, or I'm about to be probed on some ship somewhere, or that I'm dying and I'm floating towards a white light. This is a different experience altogether. I feel safe. I feel grounded, and I feel at peace. And then you have conversation. And what I found with our very graceful God is he has a very great humor. Has a great sense of humor, and he wants relationship with us. That's the whole point. So the point of the church being the wife of God, as it were.
Okay.
The point of Jesus being the Son, but also God proclaimed as man on earth, coming and sacrificing himself, was to teach us a few things. It was to teach us that the Old Testament exists, and it contains a lot of good, sensical, moral, valued stories. Whether they are true or not isn't for me to tell anybody, isn't for you to tell me. It's for you to read. It's for you to take out of it whatever you need to take out of it. And if it's positive, amazing. If it's negative, then you need more scripture. Go forward in the book.
Wheel and come again.
Exactly, yeah. But what you do get from it is as soon as you get to the New Testament, and as soon as you abandon religion and adopt relationship. So this is the philosophy, and it's a very simple way of living. It's waking up as the sun is rising and giving gratitude. It's before you're eating, saying thank you for the food that you have, because there are a lot of people on this planet who can't eat. They don't even have access to food. The very fact you've got a piece of lettuce and a chicken breast in front of you is good enough to say thank you for. It's being grateful for any lesson, whether it feels bad at the time or not. Because you know that, yeah, you're going to be uncomfortable for 2 minutes, but you're going to feel much better after. Church is important not because the church doesn't exist within you, or Jesus' church doesn't exist within you. It does. He's right here. You're part of him. He's part of you. That's who we are. We're man made in God's image. The church is the two or more. It's the where two or more are gathered and in agreement. That's very important. God will execute your wishes, if they're aligned with the kingdom. So the simple fact of the matter is it changed when I realized that just thinking in kingdom terms rather than terraform or earth terms, being grateful for absolutely everything, and then also blessing your enemies on the daily will completely change your perspective and change what happens in your life.
Did you have a particular trigger to move from the idea of religion to relationship?
It was actually my pastor, my current pastor, Lucio. He is of Be Light Church. Be Light says it all, really. They preach the whole Bible. They go through everything, but they teach it in a way that Jesus was teaching it, and I think that's the important thing. He came as, and whether you believe he's the Son of God or not, he came. He did miracles. He did crazy things. He's there's more evidence about Jesus Christ existing than there is about any other person on the planet. That he's written about more than any king or queen that we know existed, etc. There is physical evidence. There is spiritual evidence. Obviously, this miracle that happened and came to teach us how to be like him. We forget that he taught his disciples to do the acts that he was doing. We forget that Peter got on the water and lost sight of Jesus and worried about the waves coming. That's why he crashed through the surface of the water. When we take our eye off God as the provider, as the number one source of everything that we need, and we put it on us, we take that reign away from him and we say, no, we've got it, we are doing a disservice, because that's what he's here for. He's here to take care of us, And that was my final lesson. And that was a recent lesson. It was only like a couple of years ago. It was, I'm not in control here. I'm one of 1 billion or 2 billion, 7 billion people now that are walking around this planet with a idea in my head that I have a goal, that I have a specific thing that I want and I need to make my life better. And it never really worked out for me having those thought or belief systems. When everything started to really, really take off and really work out for me as far as a life of abundance, abundance in love, abundance in peace, abundance in harmony, abundance in physical health, abundance in finances, abundance in goals. None of that really happened until I was aligned with the kingdom. And what I mean by that, because it does sound very sort of like spiritually far-fetched and sort of almost hippie-ish, I guess, it was surrendering. It was surrendering, and it was understanding that it doesn't matter where you look, God is woven into absolutely everything that is around us, whether it be the formulation of a plant, in the fact that it grows in a Fibonacci sequence, a small microscopic level. And that is exactly how space acts, in exactly the same way, in the same time continuum. How genes are put together in a Fibonacci sequence in exactly the same way space, time, and growth works everywhere else. How there's all these scientific explanations for everything, but the deep root of the scientific explanation, according to any and all of our geniuses that have existed, is that this has been written by something with a far greater mind than we could ever conceive, because it is so it's woven so well together that it has a purpose. It cannot be random. To be random, imagine how much faith you'd need to be. You know why I love atheists? because imagine having the faith of an atheist. We just exist. One of those things out of the billion numbers that are needed to keep us where we are doing what we do, one of those numbers goes out slightly by a fraction that we wouldn't even be able to understand decimally speaking, because it is that small of a number. If it changed slightly, this whole universe would collapse on itself. Imagine having that much faith, that nothing else exists, that we're just hanging around in space, waiting for this to either not happen or happen, you know? I'd love that kind of faith in my Lord. And I do have that kind of faith in my Lord. I'm just winding you up now, atheist, right? But it doesn't make any sense even at a scientific level. And scientists are proving every single day that there is something behind this wonderful thing that we call life. And there is a formula for us to go by. And whether that's scripture or not, maybe that's the sort of surface level of it. Mm-hmm. But the definite basis of living a proud, beautiful life on earth is service and obedience. And I don't just mean to the Lord and reading the word and, okay, I'm going to do the 10 Hail Marys and all that kind of stuff, because that's why we avoid religion, right? It's the relationship in that obedience. It's the same way you would be obedient to your wife if she said, no, I don't want you to go out and do this because I think it's going to be bad for the family. Mm. It's the same sort of obedience. It's having faith in your relationship that by making that decision, it's going to take you to the next level, or it's going to solidify a foundation of love and peace.
Has there been a time that your faith has been tested or you've questioned?
Absolutely. And thank the Lord, it gets tested all the time. All the time, actually. And it's mostly in, again, relationships, actually. It's where I feel, or the person feels under, we call it attack from the enemy. Okay, that's how we describe it, mm-hmm. In our household anyway. So what we mean by that is, excuse me guys, breakfast. It's when you have a purpose. Mm-hmm. So if, for example, if my partner and I's purpose is to open a hub where we can teach people how to cook, we can teach people music, we can get people off the streets, get them jobs, house, clothe, feed, all that sort of thing. Run a church from the same hub, etc., etc. If that's the end goal, okay, we want these hubs and we want mm-hmm. them all over the place. What does the enemy want? Well, he doesn't want that, because that's completely squashing his word. That's squashing his temptation. That's getting rid of his, violent whispers and lies in people's ears. So what does he do? He comes along and he attacks the very thing that he knows that can disrupt the household. He goes for insecurities. He goes for conflict in disagreements about perhaps spiritual stuff. Are we sure that we're on the same page here? Are we sure that we're spiritually aligned? Are we sure that we're after the same things? Because you want to go out and party with your mates for 3 nights this week, and I've got all this work to do, and you're not supporting me in this yet. At the beginning, it was a together thing, and now it's not. So what's going on? He'll push temptation in your way. It will keep doing that. And when we say tested, is it the Lord testing? I think so. I think a little bit of it. But most of it is to see if you are grounded in his presence. Meaning, when you see the temptation, when you see the conflict, when you see the dismay, when you see the fires burning around you, and you think there's no way out, and you're going to pull your hair out, or you're going to have a screaming match, or you're going to have a fit, you're going to go into old behavioral patterns, you're going to start freaking out at your sous chef and throwing things around because service is going bad. Take your foot off the gas a little bit and pray. And I know that sounds ironic, but I can name 10 times where I've prayed hard when something very bad was going on, and the relief was almost instantaneous. Not only in the physical world around me, but here. And I think as soon as the centering changes all of a sudden you're giving off different vibes, man. And you're changing that energy around you. And by changing that energy around you, this is where the science comes into the relationship with God. Everybody else changes, because you can't walk into a room full of positive energy as a person giving off lots of negativity and change 10 people. You can go in and change one or two people, but if there's a whole congregation there full of this big positive love and going on, what's going to happen is very quickly you're going to change. You're going to have to, because whatever demon is lodging or hanging around you or whatever, they're not going to be comfortable there. They're going to want to get the hell out of Dodge as soon as they possibly can. It's not going to be good for them. As soon as you start praising and worshipping, as soon as you start talking like we're talking now, that presence either, two things happen. If you're having a one-on-one conversation, the presence relinquishes any feeling of doubt or negative self-talk, which is definitely you being under attack by the liar, the one who doesn't want you to succeed in love and relationship with the Lord, because what that means is he has no dominion on earth, and this is his dominion. He has no dominion over you. He has no power, and no power. He is ego. Imagine something that egotistical not having any power. It will upset him greatly, and it does it. It upsets the dark side, as it were, and by doing what we do and by exercising these, I'm not going to call them rituals, but it's almost ritualistic, getting up at the same time and, contations, whatever you want to call them, contations, prayers, or whatever works for you. But trust me, if you do it and it becomes part of your daily routine and becomes part of exactly how you approach your daily situation, everything changes very, very quickly and dramatically, because you don't harbor this envy of anybody else anymore. You don't harbor the pressure of not being on time, because you're on God's time. You will be exactly where you need to be.
How was your life different before this deep relationship?
I think it was very stressful.
Okay.
It was extremely stressful. I need to be there at this time. I need to be there at this time. If I'm not there, what are they going to think? What is this person going to think of me? If I don't achieve this, I'm not going to amount to anything.
Okay.
If I don't achieve this, what are they going to think about me? How am I going to get that job if I can't pull this one off, etc., etc., etc.? Constantly stressed. You are constantly trying to figure out how you are going to get you to that billionaire status with the 10 houses all around the world and the cars and the money and the flash. And you quickly, when you start having a relationship with God, understand that none of that matters at all. None of it makes a bit of difference, because I could win the lottery tomorrow and then get hit by a bus 5 minutes later. If I am not taking advantage of the very, very sacred and precious air that has been breathed into my body, the breath that has been given to me, every single minute living in this minute right here, right now, then I am not living. I'm just not, you're not living. You're not doing anything. You're thinking about what's going to happen next week. Stop thinking about what's going to happen next week. Think about what's happening now. How grateful are you for this moment? How sad are you for this moment? How bitter are you in this moment? How can we change that? How can we, okay, I'm feeling bitter. How am I going to get this bitterness out of me? You have to look for any good in every situation, because you are never, ever, ever going to be peaceful if you don't understand that life is a series of 50-50s. Without all that negative shit, without all the bad stuff that happens, you won't have a good understanding of what it is to feel free, to feel unburdened, to feel beauty, to feel peace anyway. You don't have anything to compare it to. But peace is something that you won't need a comparison to when you get it. When you get it, you'll be like, oh, this is peace. Peace is when someone is screaming in your face and you're like, Jesus loves you, bro. Jesus loves you. When one of these crazy taxi drivers in South Africa here decide to bump your car and threaten you with a gun because you're in the way, and you're like, it's all good, my man. I've got insurance. You don't, but I do. You know? Peace is not reacting through ego. And that for me was something I needed a relationship with God to overcome. To get there, I needed that. Because all of my mentors were very, very different in their approach. And what I also saw was, as I became more like that, people around me became more like that as well. If this guy is peaceful, the guy who was not peaceful in any way, shape or form, I can be peaceful too. And that was what the whole point of disciples, Jesus' time on the planet was about. It was like, wander around with me, get my teachings, learn who I am, and you can be like that too. And the more you become like me, again, you can use any words that you want. Divine is one of them. And I think what we mean by divine when we're saying it is just acting in kingdom authority rather than terra firma earth, which is love thy neighbor. There's only one entity that can judge anything. We do not have the power to do so, and nor should we, because we all harbor our own mistakes. If you meet anyone that you really think is squeaky clean on this planet, that's never had a bad thought even, show me them. I'd love to meet that person. I'd love to meet the child that's never had a bad thought about something or someone, It's just how human nature is. And I think discovering what human nature can be over what it is the idea here. I think that's my meaning of life anyway. It's okay. How do I become more godly in my presence and my teachings every day? And I'm never going to get it right because I am only human at this stage anyway, while I'm walking around in this flesh suit. And that's also okay because we've been forgiven. So we have an opportunity now. We have an opportunity that we didn't have before Jesus was here, to be able to really, really look at ourselves and what we can do for ourselves to get to a state of peace. And again, peace doesn't necessarily mean having everything that you want around you all the time. Peace just means being okay with what you do have around you. That's peace. And if we can all get there, you watch the conflict just run away. You've got no need to control anything anymore. You don't need Greenland all of a sudden, or anything, above and beyond the kingdom. And that is a way of life. And you can either live it or you can't. You can take some bits, you can apply whatever you want to apply to it. But I think if your heart is good, you've made it anyway. You don't need to wake up every morning and do what I do. You just need to have love in your heart for everybody and see that even bad people aren't bad people. There's no such thing as a bad person. They just do bad things.
Right.
And everybody has the choice to be able to not do bad things. How do we get people not doing bad things? We have to understand them first. And what the funny thing is about understanding is we always fear what we don't understand. And that's why we have conflict with others, because we don't understand each other. So a little more understanding will go a long way. And that comes from prayer. That comes from having a relationship with the Lord. We get that relationship right, our relationships with everything else tend to just fit in. I'm done preaching.
No, I like it.
Yeah.
It leads me to, did you always see that your life would leave the UK and end up in another part of the world?
Yeah, I did. I never had a great relationship with the UK to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah. It never felt like home. It never felt like somewhere that was ever going to be somewhere that I called the place I was always going to stay. I don't think if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I've found that place yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Cape Town is home.
Right.
Cape Town is home because mountains, winelands, sea, unbelievable culinary scene. The people here are next level.
What do you mean?
Like you can meet some absolute crackers, like unbelievable people. You can meet some of the opposite, like anywhere else in the world.
Right.
But this place is really centered in, again, it's diversity. It feels like being back at school.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
Yes.
There's like a comfort in that to me. There's the this group of friends and that group of friends and this group of friends and this group of friends, and they all have a different function and they all have a different meaning and they all have a different way of going about things. But you'll never see a trodden down South African.
Okay.
Anything can happen here. Cyril Ramaphosa can do the worst 360 in the world and increase McDonald's prices by 60% and put the rent up to an extortionate price that no one can afford local rentals. They can dump sewage into the sea. They can literally do whatever they want, and you will never get a South African who will sit moaning for too long about anything. They're resistant. They are resistant to abuse. They're resistant to racism. They're resistant to oppression. They're just resistant in a way that reminds me very much of my own people, and I love it. I think it's absolutely amazing. I love the Afrikaner communities. I love the Xhosa communities. I love the Zulu communities. I love there's so many the Pedi communities. Josie and Cape Town, how different people are from both. It's like two different countries.
Really?
It really is. And Durban, the same. You visit and even PE, if you visit all these cities, it's like being in a different country in each and every one of them. It is so dynamic, so diverse, and they are one of the most resilient people when it comes to being the best at what they do as well. All we have to do is take a look at the current sports situation in the world. They are cleaning up with everything. It doesn't matter what it is. I think the only thing that they're not great at is soccer. Sorry, guys.
And track.
And track, yeah. But but everything else is nuts. Rugby, basketball.
Are they good at basketball?
Unbelievably, yeah. They just won something in the Olympics. The women's basketball team, hockey. I mean, hockey, man. Not ice hockey, obviously, but yeah, hockey. Some of the soccer teams, some of the soccer players. What else have they done? Like something nuts. So I was looking at the whole shebang.
Yep.
It's like a list of 18 things that they're world champions in. Absolutely crazy. So whatever they focus on, the wine here.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about the wine. I've lived in some countries. I've lived in France. Okay, I've spent a lot of time in Italy. I've spent a lot of time in the US, especially Napa Valley, where they make US best wine. I've been to South America. I've had some of the best Argentinian, Peruvian wine. I've been to China, Japan, where they've started these things, and when they get stuff right, they get it right.
Japan especially.
Unbelievably. It doesn't matter, New Zealand, Australia, it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to get really good wines, and you're going to get really, really bad wines that they sell at a very low level and should not even be fit for consumption, but they sell it anyway. You don't get that here. If you go buy a cheap wine in South Africa, that is going to be like a moderate wine in Europe. They are the best at it, I'm telling you right now. One of my favorite bubbles in the whole world is called Lelude. I'd put it top 5 against any champagne on the planet. And it's probably a fraction of the price.
I need to get me some of that, babes.
Yeah, Lelude Franschhoek.
Okay.
Unbelievable. You go, especially if you go for the vintages, next level stuff. Actually the mind boggles at how good it is compared to some of these top level champagne houses in France. It doesn't even make any sense. They are incredible, and I love them as a people. I love their attitudes to a lot of stuff that happens. Everyone has their faults, and we'll find more and more and more if we look for those. But all I'm going to say is, anywhere in the world I would call home would be Cape Town for sure. Yeah.
Why did you choose Cape Town? Having been and visited and lived in so many other places, what was it about Cape Town that has made you stay here?
I think it's the like don't want to say the vibes, but the vibes, man. Yeah. It's definitely the vibes. It's hustle and bustle, but it's chilled.
Whereas I understand that Joburg is a little bit just hustle and bustle.
Joburg's just hustle and bustle.
Okay.
It's like you're waking up. It's the core. Joburg is corporate.
Right.
Okay. If I was gonna sum it up in a small sentence, Josie is corporate. Cape Town is creative.
Okay.
Okay. Cape Town is one of the most creative cities, I'd say, in the world. 100%. Everybody here is an entrepreneur. Everybody. Doesn't matter who you meet.
Sure.
And I love that about it. It's like, what do you do? And then the back scratching, it lives here. You know, if money was to be eradicated tomorrow, Cape Town would operate like the old school days, man. There'd be people giving chickens for grapes or whatever. You know what I mean? Like people would just start trading. COVID was one of those times where you saw people really get stuck in, because hospitality obviously just blew out of the water with no one being able to open their restaurants, no incomes, etc., etc. Restaurants closing like 1-0. What did we do? We made a little. We went back to the prohibition. We went back to the prohibition. That's exactly what we did. We did it with food and we did it with drink, and we hustled, and people survived because of it. And I don't think that would have happened anywhere else in the world. It would have been too hardcore on the regulation, too hardcore on the policing. They just knew. They were like, this isn't right. What's going on? We're going to make a plan here so everybody can survive. And that happened right here in Cape Town. And all I can say is, when it comes to resilience, when it comes to entrepreneurial tactics and thought patterns, this place is like a hub of pure creative energy.
How was COVID for you?
COVID was a bit of a rough time at the beginning of it, as it was for anyone who owned a restaurant at the time. I had Exhibit A at the time with a chef called Warwick King. That was the sort of like our duo in South Africa after we opened Gate. And we went from strength to strength. We were in Wall Street Journal as one of the best restaurants in Africa, and Forbes top 10, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, we were killing it. And then COVID happened and we had to close, and we were like, oh, shit, what are we going to do, man?
How long had you been open before COVID?
Only 9 months. Yeah, so we were just getting into it, you know. We had a couple of million rands worth of bookings in, deposit-wise, and we had to refund. You know, 2 million rand going out of your bank. You're like, oh dear, what are we going to do? And we found ways. There was wine clubs. We had, at the time, it was one of the best wine lists recognised in the continent, actually. So we started a wine club where you pay a membership fee.
Okay.
And then you can pick up your weekly wine, as it were. And we had some crazy requests for particular bottles and what have you. And obviously there was a premium attached to it now and whatnot. And we were doing this, sending a pizza, which we'd blast frozen. We'd made it, but we blast freeze it. So when you get it and put it in your oven, it acts like a takeaway pizza.
Right.
So it will expand and grow and what have you. We did that. What else did we do? We were doing anything that we could. We were just hustling. And all of this was so we could keep paying our staff and not lay them off. And keep doing that. We got involved with the soup kitchen, which was down in Woodstock here, actually. The big brewery, Woodstock Brewery, on the main road there. We were donating like offcuts of the vegetables and all that kind of stuff. So it went to the soup kitchen, and we were handing out stuff. We were doing a campaign with Matt Manning at the time. Matt Manning's a chef who owns a few restaurants on Bree Street. He's got Culture Wine Bar. He's got the Blue Room, and he's got Grub and Vine as well. So we were doing like charity soup kitchen from there at the time as well, and then it hit rock bottom. They went on complete lockdown, where we couldn't leave the house. Well, yeah, I mean, you went through the same thing. A lot of us were still surfing and stuff and flipping the bird to the police as they came, because they couldn't get out to get us and what have you. So we were still being very South African, but yeah, lockdown, man. And then what did we do? I had to make a call. Am I staying, or am I going to now look for something with a stable income for a little bit just to get us through COVID? So I actually, and this is the first time I'm talking about it actually. So I actually found an ad on LinkedIn. It's for a little place out in Montana. It was called, what was it called? Some trauma related to it. So I tried to block it out as much as humanly possible. What was it called? Oh, Stonehill. It's called Stonehill Kitchen. And they kind of like said, "Oh, why are you looking out this neck of the woods?" And I was like, "I'm really looking to do something like a Noma concept."
Okay.
Same sort of latitude, all that kind of thing. I've checked out your local like fish, vegetables, and all that hunky-dory. I think we could do something really cool here, like a Noma concept, if you're willing to invest in that sort of thing, etc. I don't just want to come into what it is now and then run a menu,
Right?
Because it doesn't make any sense. There needs to be a marketing constituent behind it. We need to get Michelin Guide interested in expanding into different states. If you're up for all of these things, then I think you found yourself an exec chef, and I'll come over and we'll get on it. Yeah, no problem. We are aligned. Love the idea, etc., etc. Went across there. Nothing had happened. I was basically a private chef for one of the owners, who had a huge ego, very rude, very on the phone. What a wonderful man.
Right.
Pay for your flights, accommodation, all that kind of stuff. Let's get you over here. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Anything you need, we'll sort you out with. Then it's if I come in here and I want an effing burger, I want an effing burger. So make me one. Okay. Send someone to the shop to get ingredients. Then cool. Here we go. Things like that. So it started like that, and then I started seeing him fight with his family as well.
In front of you?
In front of everybody. And then he'd have his nieces in washing the dishes, and they'd just be sat on buckets in the middle of the kitchen. There's guests coming in and stuff, and it's a mess.
Hold on, is he trying to get them some work ethic?
I don't know what was going on there. I was very confused by the whole operation. And it was, oh no, this one's a good one. We keep her around because she's local and like we've known her for years. I'm like, yeah, but she's
not doing anything.
She's not doing anything. And then this one is having extramarital affairs with some of the customers. Except it was very, very small.
But you've left here to go
up
there.
And left it there, yeah.
For this opportunity.
Yeah.
That wasn't an opportunity.
No, it wasn't. And they were making out it was going to be an opportunity.
Okay. So you're waiting.
So I'm waiting, yeah.
How long were we waiting for?
Well, I was there, honestly. I got to 3 months and I was like, no, I'm done.
The opportunity now come.
Yeah. I'm like, no. And then as soon as I said, listen, sorry, this is like breach of contract.
Sure.
I need to get out of it. They were like, oh, no, now we're going to do the renovations. And by then, too little, too late. I'd already found somewhere to go. So I left, and then the team that was there was like, listen, we'd love to come with you. And I'm like, look, can't do that. Stipulates in contracts, stealing of staff and all that kind of stuff, can't do it. What I can do is I can give you a HR manager's number of the company, and then if you get a job somewhere, whatever. Yeah. But nothing to do with me. You can't talk to me about it, etc. I did tell a couple of them my plan. I was like, no, but I've discussed this with management as well, so it's not like it's a
secret.
Yeah, like a secret. I'm heading to the East Coast, and I'm going to do something cool down there because, these guys just aren't putting the money where their mouth is, as it were. So I left, and then I got a threatening message from the owner, like, if you don't return now, X, Y, and Z's going to happen. And I'm like, well, dude, you breached your contract at the end of the day. So as far as I'm concerned, also partner getting lots of flack. She's considered a black girl out there in a very red county.
Okay.
And yeah, you walk into a...
Your partner's from South Africa?
Yeah, South African, yeah. So you walk into a supermarket, and it goes like... Tumbleweeds going through there,
Really?
and people staring, etc., etc.
I don't know anything about Montana.
Yeah, it's very... you watch that series on Netflix, what's it called? Yellowstone.
Okay.
That'll tell you everything you need to know about Montana.
Okay.
It's about their political system, how things work, etc., etc. And I unfortunately got the rap of that because he sued me.
He sued you?
He sued me, yeah. He sued me for leaving, and then because some of his staff left and went off to do their own things, etc., he sued me for leading them down the wrong path, all that kind of stuff as well. Didn't sue me in plain sight, though.
What do you mean?
So what I didn't know about him was he is a very, 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 very high up in the political system. He is a lawyer that has a track record of being like, you want this done, you get this guy to do it.
Okay.
Animal of note, okay,
Right.
in the courtroom. His wife... went public with a child's book thing that was linked to Netflix, etc., etc. Went public and cleared 25 billion or something. This is how rich these people are, right? And they wouldn't just
Fix up the restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know whether he wanted me to prove something to him or what beforehand. I've got no idea. But unbelievable amount of cash just sitting around, private jet, he's flying it, etc., etc. He was giving me flying lessons at one point, like the first week I was there. He was like, come grab that. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking I've hit, I've scored here.
Right.
This guy's going to end up open. He's going to obviously offer me shares in the restaurant to keep me here, etc. We're probably going to do this big culinary takeover thing, put Montana on the map, blah-de-da, because of the way he was carrying on.
Right.
Get there, none of this happens, and he's very almost goth, or he's very hard to work with. He tastes everything, and he's not got a great palate because he smokes cigars and chins whiskey. He's drunk most of the time,
but he's telling you it's wrong.
But he's telling you it's wrong, and you're like, what are you talking about? The Michelin guy 2 stars thought this was okay, and gave our restaurant accolades, etc., etc. Yet you don't see the good in the dish, as it were. I'm not really understanding where you're coming from. So what he wanted was just a private chef,
right?
And he wanted bragging rights to his mates.
Advertise for that, though.
Yeah, exactly. I think the whole thing was, I can tell my mates I've got an award-winning chef. I've got this guy who's been on MasterChef UK and and all this stuff. So I think he just thought that was, the appealing factor. But obviously I was like, no, thank you. So we got out of there, went to the East Coast.
What part of the East Coast?
I went to Philadelphia.
Okay.
Philly, just outside of Philly, this beautiful restaurant called Amorette.
Is this the first time your partner's come to the States?
Yeah.
And so she lands in Montana?
Lands in Montana,
and that's her experience?
That was her experience, yeah.
Is she not telling you, babe, let's get back on the plane?
No, at this point, she's like, okay, let's try another place. Okay, let's give this one a go.
Right.
Get there. Everything's wonderful.
Okay.
Guy pays for everything, gets everything we need, gets all the plates I need, gets all the equipment I need, puts us in an apartment, then sorts us out with a house, etc., etc. He is regenerating what he's paying out for us. It's not like he's doing it for free or whatever, but he's helping us out.
Yes.
And I'm like, brilliant guy, name's Tom, actually in the medical profession, so owns several hospitals across the state of Pennsylvania. Very cool guy. Start doing all this amazing food, etc., etc. Get to Christmas, I think 2023 or 4.
Okay.
Can't remember. Maybe.
One of them.
Yeah, one of them. And then he's like, would you be interested in taking over this and taking over that? And I'm like, yeah, great. And then bang. we get sued. So I get this paperwork come through, and I've been sued for $1.6 million in damages to this guy from Montana. And he's also suing my new employer. So my new employer's like, it's fine, I'll fight that. Because, hello. So that gets thrown out of court. They're like,
Okay.
you're not going to be able to sue this guy. Like, that's ridiculous.
Right.
Like, hello. And it's a different state completely. It's right to work state in Montana as well. So if I just decide that I want to leave, I can.
Right.
Yes, I have a 3-year contract that I've signed, but 2 of the main elements have already been broken and null and void. So my lawyer's like, yeah, we can win, but your retainer's going to cost this, and this is going to cost that, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So I'm like, you're telling me that I'm going to need $250,000 to fight this guy? He's like, yeah, this guy's a powerhouse. He used to be the lawyer for the CIA. Ha!
Literally?
Literally used to be one of the lawyers for the CIA, yeah, in a particular field that he was in. And I'm like, so I need $250,000. And he's like, yeah, and he knows that. That's why he's doing this. How did he get this pushed through and granted? I haven't been to court. That's what we need to find out. So he investigates why, etc. Well, when you know everyone, you can. As far as they're concerned, I went to court. I'm like, well, I didn't go to court. Yeah, but
it is what it is.
They're alluding to that you did. So now you'll have to go, and then, yes, you'll be able to prove you didn't, but that's going to cost you X, Y, and Z. His aim here is to make you broke. That's the aim. He wants to finish you financially. Okay, what can I do? And he said, you're not going to be able to do anything. You're going to have to just settle on an amount every week. This is the lawyer. Or every month or whatever, and that's what you're going to have to pay. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. Effort's sake, and we'll move on. Cheers. So then Tom, the owner, got very like, oh, if you don't fight this, and you're going to need to. And I was like, okay, you're going to help me fight it? Because he's like, I can't. Dude, my wife wouldn't let me give you $250,000 to fight this guy. She'd
Right.
be like, what are you doing? You've known this guy for 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? So what did I do? I left. Yeah, I left. He was like, yeah, you're going to have to go to some like Wild West state where they don't give a shit about stuff like this. He said, and your partner's moaning about the weather up here, so I suggest you go to somewhere like Florida or whatever. And I was like, that's not a bad idea. So we moved to Florida.
Oh, really?
We moved to Florida. I went to a place.
And then the case just disappears?
No, but now they gotta recalibrate their case for Florida.
Okay.
So it has to get passed in Florida now, because America's basically just like a big continent, isn't it? It's
Right.
like Africa or Europe or whatever. They've got states, but they operate like different countries now.
Yes.
They're completely independent of each other. So now I'm like, okay, so let's see how long it
Takes to track it down.
It either gets passed or it doesn't, or what. So eventually, I don't hear anything. Yeah. But we're in Florida. Immersion happens. I'm doing the pre-opening dinners for some of the Michelin ceremonies in the new states. We do Florida. I do it with Ryan Rattino from a 2-star restaurant in Washington, D.C. Called Jaunt. He comes down to Immersion. We do a collab dinner. Extremely successful. Actually got his feet in the door to open a restaurant in Florida. I opened this place in London House, which is this private members club, but this restaurant's open to the public. We're open for 3 months. We're only on Michelin Guide's radar because Ryan's coming down. So we then do the pre-dinner. The head of Michelin the US is there. Everything goes smoothly. One of the guys informs me, you are definitely going to be on the list next year. Okay? They're not supposed to do that, by the way. It didn't happen. I'm lying. Blah, blah. So, just an insider whispered to me, yeah, like, well done, next year. I was like, oh, not this year. He's like, no, after 3 months doing it, it's not even really 3 months. It's more like a month and a half because
Right.
you've only been on the radar for, and if they do that, it's going to look a little bit funny. And also, really, you need the Michelin guide to come in 3 or 4 times before next year to see if you've got the consistency, etc. So I'm like, no problem. Been on it. We'll get back on it. No problem. Don't get on it. Fine. We're at the awards though, and got a special mention and all that kind of stuff, etc. And then even the head of the Michelin guide there was like, yeah, can't wait to see how this is going to pan out, etc. Get a call from the boss, Ben, his name is. If he's watching, he's a proper knobhead.
Oh no.
Of note. Yeah, one of the worst cretins I've ever met in my whole entire life.
Oh no.
So, did avoid talking and did avoid like having any interaction with him most of the time. His business partner though, very nice guy, opposite, like unbelievable. Such a good guy, got on like a house on fire, good morals and all that kind of stuff, right? But it seemed that he wasn't the one who was calling all the shots. It's Ben who was calling all the shots. So, Adrian, his name was. Still love the guy to bits.
We love Adrian.
Love
Don't
Adrian,
like
Ben. Woof. I don't want to insult anyone or say anyone's like a certain sort of character because of their lifestyle or whatever. But if you can imagine chewing on a bit of corn, a cowboy hat, big guns.
Right.
Big guns. Big truck. Truck, guns, cowboy hat, boots, tank top. Yeah, that sort of vibe, right? So he said some insulting things. One of them alluding to the fact that my partner is a person of colour, and yeah, does that affect me in any way? Whatever that meant. So I'm like,
What?
sorry, why have you pulled me in? Where are we having a meeting about my partner? Or they're like, what's the crack? Oh, and your kid, is it yours? Because he's very white. I'm like, what? So what he's actually doing, and he's got 2 managers in the room with him, right? And and they're not even making any eye contact with me. He's trying to get me to react to something. So he's like, so today you could be getting fired, and I take it you've been fired before, right? I'm sure you've been fired before. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what? Okay, let's just cut to the chase. What's going on here? And he said, you guaranteed us we were getting a Michelin star. I was like, no, you can't guarantee you're getting a Michelin star unless you work for Michelin. But then again, Michelin wouldn't open a restaurant. So how have I guaranteed you anything? Oh, it was kind of like the build-up. It was kind of like, you know, you were like, oh, it's dead set. This person works for this person and this person works for there. And you were telling us all this. I was like, no, I said these guys from Jaunt are coming down and the Michelin Guide would like to use our restaurant as a platform to launch the Florida Michelin Guide on. That's a bit of a privilege, no? Do you not find that like a really cool thing? Yeah, but you know, you were alluding to the fact we were going to get one. I was like, I am, but you're damn right I was alluding to the fact that we're going to get one, but not in 3 months. Next year. We just got to stay open for a year. And also, aren't we changing the members club into a restaurant? So there's going to be like a very high-end restaurant and then immersion. So it wasn't the idea, like in our brains, we'd have a 1-star restaurant and a 2-star restaurant on the same premises sort of thing. Yeah, I just don't think it's going to work. So I was like, it's not going to work because I didn't get a star in 3 months. And he's like, oh, yeah, pretty much, like off the record. You've embarrassed us because we've been telling everybody that, and then this is why we did it. We did it because you were going to do this. Now, how are we supposed to market it? I'm like, how are you supposed to market it? You're supposed to market it like the Michelin Guide's been in and give us the thumbs up. We're like, you know, we're under the radar, so we're on the radar. We did the pre-launch for the Michelin Guide. We've had Ryan Rattino, 2 Michelin star chef Ryan Rattino here with your Michelin star chef, as it were, doing a collab dinner that's never been done before like, I don't know what you want from me. So he said, oh, resignation. And I was like, I ain't giving you a resignation, bud. Like, not going to happen. And he said, oh, and you know what? We have to pay for their flights and accommodation to come down. I was like, yes, but you already agreed to that. I didn't agree to anything. It's like, well, Adrian agreed. Adrian was on the phone And then Adrian sort of threw me under the bus a little bit and said, no, he didn't agree to that.
And we still like Adrian?
Yeah, because he texted me after and said, I did agree to it, and I did say it to, but I was confused as to what you were.
I don't like Adrian for
Yeah,
you.
okay.
Okay?
So I gave him benefit of the doubt, as it were.
Mm.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't have any contact, we don't talk anymore or whatever, but I do think deep down he's a nice guy. I think he's just a bit bullied, if that makes any sense.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm with you. I hear you. The wife also doesn't appreciate
Adrian.
Well,
I'm with the wife. Yeah.
Yeah, Danny hates. So then what? So that happens, and I'm like, we need to leave.
As in leave America.
We need to get out of here, because this is just, it's just not good, is it? You got one guy who's not going to back me up. You got one guy who's chasing me, like literally trying to ruin my career.
Yes.
And then you've got these guys who have just, if it's not going to happen instantaneously, I don't want it, sort of thing. Very, very strange way of carrying on, but it is what it is. I meet a guy called Tomo out there, very inspirational guy. Peptides, physical health, God, all those sort of things. So that was one of the beautiful side effects of it, I guess. And he's had some interaction with South Africa by way of Nicky van der Walt, who owns Tang. So he's got Tang Waterfront, Tan Joburg, and Tan Dubai.
Okay.
I work very closely with his exec chef. He's also on the best chef list, goes to the best chef awards and stuff. So, I mean, it's a pretty small community worldwide. We see all the same people. I saw all the junk guys at these award ceremonies, etc., etc. Everyone asks what's going on. Then I found out that they tried to tarnish my name when I left. Oh, sorry, there was a doshi bit in between as well. I'll get to that now. So they contacted Michelin Guide and said, no, this guy lied to you and said that he would pay for X, Y, and Z for you to come down, stay. And then there was a lot of stuff that he said yes to for the Michelin reveal dinners that we wouldn't have approved. And, of course, I can't do anything without approval because I have to buy stuff.
Right.
So you have to get a pre-purchase order if you're buying anything for anything. So they then contacted the Michelin Guide, and Michelin Guide told someone who was actually started to get me involved in their company, Johnny Tongue, that, we don't like drama. And the likelihood is that you won't receive any awards if there's drama. So I'm like, okay, so how do we get rid of the drama? So Johnny said, write a statement, give dates, give emails, all that sort of thing. So we did. We sent it to him, and it went quiet.
Okay.
They didn't go quiet, though. Started working with Johnny. They tried to sue me for working with Johnny.
So everybody does really like to sue in America.
They love to sue,
It's not
man.
just...
I was like, there's no way in a million years these guys are going to try and sue me now for working with Johnny. This is Asian food, completely different to what we're doing, etc. Anyway, long story short, Johnny actually used one of his lawyers, and God bless Johnny, right? Because he is a restaurateur of note. He owns most of the Michelin star restaurants in the Florida area. He's very much about championing the chef, giving the chef what they need to succeed, and getting them there all the way. Unbelievable guy. Owns Bento, which is this like fast food chain as well. No seed oils though, and all that kind of stuff. Really, really good, like peanut oil, all that kind of stuff. Right? Fantastic. Great guy. Unbelievable family. Beautiful wife. Great brother. Working with these guys for a little bit. Open doshi. Michelin Guide. Got in, etc., etc. But absolutely brilliant news on that. But I was only there for 6 months, and then my visa was running out.
Okay.
As the visa was coming to the end, that's when we left. I was like, you know what? I'm not really... Because I'd seen 2 shootings happen while being in Florida. I'd witnessed a whole bunch of neo-Nazis on a bridge closing a road in Florida. Nazi signs everywhere. I'd watched a beach get emptied because some guy ran on it with an AR-15 and started taking shots at a shark in the water. So I was a little bit like, you know what, this might be the way that things are done over here and cool. But it certainly ain't New York, because New York, they don't act like this.
No.
It's not LA, because in LA, they don't act like this either. So this is just all a little bit too much for me. I think I'm going to leave.
Okay.
I'd already lived in the US previously. I'd lived in Napa Valley for a few years. I was at the French Laundry.
Okay.
So I worked there for a few years, well, a couple of years, and then one other place in Yountville down the road, and then left and went to the Fat Duck after that.
Okay.
But that was that was when I was still sort of rising, as it were. But yeah, the second time, being there and living there properly, not just in staff accommodation and
Right.
living in the winelands where nothing happens, as it were. You are in the midst of things, So yeah, I got the call from the visa. Oh, come in and do your documents. I went in and I was like, you know what? I just don't fancy it. So moved back. Moved back to Cape Town. What did I do then? I started consulting. And
Can I ask a quick question about Michelin? So do you think, I feel like every chef when they start out, their dream is to rise up and get a Michelin star. Yeah. Do you think that is changing now? And what are your thoughts about that?
I think it is changing. I think people are more obsessed with it in a way, and then less obsessed with it on the other side as well. So for someone who's been involved in Michelin star restaurants, worked at Michelin star restaurants, wanted to get stars, all that kind of stuff, it's less important now because you've done it. That makes any sense? Or you've been involved in it.
Yep.
The other thing is you've seen what it takes to get there, and you've also seen the politics that go into it as well. It is very politically driven. I don't think, if I was to put my hand on my heart and say, do I think it's a fair system? I couldn't say yes. I'd have to say I've eaten at 1 stars, which are unbelievably better quality and better presented than a 3-star, for example. So why has that 3-star got 3 stars? All perspective, right? That would be the way that, it's the perspective of the judges. I don't think it is.
I think the meal that made me really question Michelin star, I want to say 21, and I booked to go to Jules Verne.
Okay.
And I live in New York at the time, so going to Paris is a trek. But I'm like, I want this experience. I'm going to pay for the experience. This was the time where, that handbag was shaped like an ostrich egg? It was that time.
Right.
And so it's relevant because when I get there, everyone is holding this handbag with this ostrich egg.
Well.
And the sommelier comes, and at the time, my wine knowledge was less than no, but I knew what I liked. Yeah. So I told him, I like a Riesling. I do prefer like a German Riesling to a French Riesling. So I'm giving him some notes so that he can choose, because this was an encyclopedia of a book that I did not know where to start. Sure. He recommends a wine. I say, cool, let's go with that. And then he says he doesn't have it. I'm like, okay, that's a bit...
Why'd you recommend it?
Why did you do that? I didn't choose it. Yeah. And then the meal just was one of the most lackluster meals I've ever had. And I'm like, I get the view. I get that you're getting, some points for ambience, for atmosphere. But the meal, I was just... This is awful. And since then, I know it might be a little bit dramatic to have one meal, but I do think that even the idea of what is haute cuisine or what is best food, I do question it a lot, in the sense that it does seem to have a European lens, right? Specifically, like the style of plating. You start to see plates all look the same, because this has been dictated that if it looks like
fashion,
this,
right?
You know what I mean? Yeah. Then it must be good, right? Or even from a palate perspective, like you were saying about your being brought up and being exposed to all these different spices and flavors. Like, I don't want everything to be as flavorful as Jamaican food. No. But, a little bit more than a salt and pepper wouldn't hurt. And it just feels that in order for it to be of a particular standard, it is really restricted as to what that looks like for Michelin.
Yeah, for sure. So back to the question that you asked me then on that, like, where do I feel people are with Michelin now? I think a lot of people are more excited about it because it has expanded its walls.
Okay.
It's dropped its sort of stuffy French, what's the right, that haute cuisine, pretentious fluff.
Right.
I think that's gone. I think now it's more, they're getting a little more edgy.
Okay.
And I think they're starting to, not mimic, but they look at world's 50 best restaurants and how they accumulate their list. and the Best Chef Awards, how they accumulate their list. It's about diversity, it's about history, it's about story, it's about personality and relationship, funnily enough, again. So it's a little more digestible for the populace now, I'd say. So as a chef from sort of early 2000s, I'd say Michelin Guide was very, very rooted in your Petiviers and your, basically it's a bloody roast dinner, isn't it? It's a roast dinner dressed up in a different way. Everything on the menu. So it's chicken with a watercress puree and a pomme soufflé, etc., etc. Or you've got a lamb, like lamb pressé with your honey glazed carrot puree, and then a jus with, like,
It's always a jus, babes.
Yeah, there's a jus and you know, maybe a sun-dried tomato couscous block that's been like all of this stuff is like pretty to look at. You know, lots of technique in making it look nice, but flavor-wise, you like it. It all just tastes like a Sunday dinner, man. There's a gravy, there's meat, and there's veggies. You know, are we going to go anywhere else with it? There's a soufflé on the menu, obviously. There's a panna cotta. There's all of these very, very trending things to be on the menu. Leek and lobster terrine, etc., etc. And all of it is rooted in salt and pepper, like you were saying. And those clear consommes and the jus were the only sauces that you saw on the plates and what have you. And now we've got like Mexican 3-star restaurants that have, you know, like avocado gazpacho being poured over some raw fish and raw vegetables that they foraged off the mountain. And it looks like an alien land. And you're like, should I be eating it? It looks like it might kill me. But diverse, very original, and great planning in the menu detail. Now, that's a world's top 50 sort of, and a Best Chef Award sort of trending thing to do. So what happens? Michelin, as a result of that, have to get on board. Like, they've got to. They took a massive decline in book sales. So now they've had to digitalize everything as well. If you're going to pay, because people ain't buying books anymore, man, especially not the Michelin Guide, because, you know, you're going to buy this thing. It's a guide to tell you where the most expensive restaurants in the world are, according to someone who doesn't really get the Michelin thing. Why would I buy that? That's just going to send me to restaurants that I don't really want to be in, and I'm going to pay a lot of money for, right? And then you get the foodies who may buy one because they just want the Michelin Guide to stack on their shelf or whatever. But that's it. That's all you've got. That's your market. So what do? You take it digital. What do? You remove your salaries from having to make the book.
Yep.
But now where's your income coming from for the tourism? Okay, because it's rooted in getting people to go to garages originally to buy tires from the garage while they're eating at the cafe along the way. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. So now where's your marketing budget coming from? Is it coming out the tire budget? Well, they don't want that. So what do? Well, we have to now collaborate. And how do they collaborate? They collaborate with the tourism board. So they get funding via the tourism board.
Okay.
And I don't want to say how it works because I don't know how it works, right? But it wouldn't surprise me if all the judges for Michelin Guide, World's Top 50, definitely not Best Chef because he does keep it nice and tight, but a few of the other big names, if they're all the same judges, and they're all freelance journalism or whatever it is, rather than being employees now, so digital nomading it, as it were. Are they qualified to tell me what I'm worth? That is a very different question. As Marco once said, how dare a journalist tell me what 3 stars is? I know what 3 stars is worth because I've been working in them and I've had the restaurant. But for a journalist who knows nothing about what I do for a living to come in and assess me and tell me whether it's worth 3 stars or not, Why would I want to be told by someone who knows much less than me about my job how good I am at it? And I'm like, yeah, I understand, but isn't that an ego thing? You don't want to be told that by somebody because your ego is going to hurt, right? But at the same time, if I was to critique I don't know, an artist or whatever, how do you critique something that is very personal to somebody? It's the other thing. Okay, what is my preference? So it was too much salt. I couldn't eat it. Cool. Now I've got to taste that and work out whether you're right, whether you're wrong, etc., etc. But if 90% of the restaurant is ticking over well, and only 10% there's a problem with, you're doing all right, and that's where your ego should lie there. Like, it's fine. We're doing fine, because it's only 10% of people that don't get what we're doing or whatever. Now we live in an age where everybody is online, everybody's watching these Michelin movies, everybody's watching cooking programs, everybody's doing a podcast, everybody's doing a like a dinner demo at home and showing people how to cook. And now everybody is a critic. Everybody is a Michelin guide critic now. So we're living in a world where they've got to be a lot more lenient because of that, unfortunately. And if they don't get restaurants with stars, does the guide have any purpose? If we are not creating new restaurants to put into the guide, what's the guide's purpose, you know? So one of the biggest problems being when they have a new guide coming out in a new country that doesn't already have one. Now you have to find restaurants to be on the guide. So now you're not checking randomly 4 or 5 times a year. You are now seeking a restaurant to put on the list. And if you are seeking anything, you will find it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you're looking for. If you're looking for a problem, you will find it. If you're looking for a sign or whatever to do something, if you really want to do it enough, you will find the reason. And it's exactly the same. They won't benefit by not having anybody in there. They get sponsored by the tourism board, as far as I'm aware. It's the only way it can work, logically speaking. So they want that sponsoring. They need it. Without it, a Michelin guide. So is the integrity of the Michelin guide being questioned by peers, by professionals, by journalists in hospitality because of these reasons? Yes. Is their importance any different? No, I think their importance is as relevant. I think even if you were a purist and you're like, I don't care about Michelin, if you get a Michelin star, you ain't going to complain. You ain't going to go, you know what, I'm going to do a Marco, give it back, I don't want to be in the guide anymore. That's horse manure, hummus, rubbish. That ain't going to happen. Most people will be like, oh, wow, I got a Michelin star. And will they use that to their advantage to pull guests into their restaurants? Because it very much does pull guests into your restaurants. They will. They will use it to their advantage. So I do believe that there is relevance in the Michelin guide still. I just hope, my purest heart in me hopes that they still conduct themselves the way that they used to, in secret. It isn't being sponsored by somebody. They aren't just randomly picking restaurants because they need people in the guide. They don't have the wrong people in charge who will be like, oh, because I fell out with you, because I got a phone call off some guy, oh, you're no longer, going to be in this guide because, well, quite frankly, we don't like drama, whatever that means. Right. It shouldn't be about any it could be, you could have a chef with the worst drama in the world. If he is worthy of 3 stars and that's what your guide is promoting, you have a distinct duty to say that. Yeah. But right at the bottom, he's an asshole. Do whatever you've got to do. Don't visit this restaurant because he's an asshole, but the food, 3 stars. Right. Cool, do that rather. Just be honest. Have a little bit of integrity. So if you're listening, Michelin, I hope you've got that integrity, because it is very, very important for the survival of food critic guides, man, because it's all online now. And like I said, April, we could go out today. If we really wanted, we could get free meals in probably most of the restaurants in South Africa. just based on our credentials and what we do, etc., etc. We could sit there, we could critique every single one and have the best restaurant guide out in 2 weeks' time flat, printed, whatever we wanted to do. And it would be worth a hell of a lot more than what is out there, because we both have a background in food. We understand what we're looking for. We've worked in the process. We've done the process. We've been through the rigmarole. And they have to understand that. So if I was those guys, I'd be pulling in some retired chefs. I'd be pulling in people who know that they're not going to be on the guide anymore, so don't have an interest in it. So therefore, their opinion is subjective and is worthy, etc., etc. I'd start with that, because this journalism thing and this, don't really know what an artichoke is, but I'll critique it, isn't going to work for the future of restaurants, especially when so many people now are online and they know what food is. And they, like I said, they'll do a whole podcast and DJ at the same time as cooking something. I'm like, how are these guys doing this? Like they're amazing, this content creation. So it, like, if it was an opinion on which one's more relevant at the moment, I'd say Best Chef Awards for me. I'd say that one's more relevant. It isn't like World's 50 Best and a Michelin guide in terms of the restaurant gets the accolade.
Sure.
This is about the person who is literally making that restaurant what it is. So that for me has a little bit more of an edge on Michelin at the moment for me. Yeah, if you get on that list, it's very good to be on the. You're being recognised for stuff that Michelin won't recognise you for example. Okay. You can be in I know Michelin have started going to like little huts and little holes in the walls now and giving them 1 stars and big gourmands and stuff like that. But it's necessary, man. Like, so I am glad that they're doing it, but they're only doing it in Asia. They're not doing it anywhere else. You can go into a literal hole in the wall in the middle of Japan. It's got a Michelin star. I'd love to see that in London. I'd love to go to Camden Market and see that guy who does that falafel and the shawarma, because it's insane. It's so good. Same principle, but I doubt it'll ever happen, because the way that something's judged in Europe versus how it's judged in
Southeast Asia.
Yeah, Southeast Asia is completely different. And you go to the US, you eat at 1 star in the US, you eat at 1 star in the UK, and you'll be like, I just don't understand. How did you get to 1 star here, but you didn't get to 1 star there? Or a 3 star in the US, in Washington. I'm not going to mention the restaurant. There's a particular restaurant in Washington. I went twice, just on the outskirts of Washington. I'll probably work it out which one it is now. You're 3 stars. I don't understand. Yeah, I've eaten at more 1 stars that have much better food than that particular restaurant. But it's, again, not to reveal too much information, it's been around a while, and it's an institution, and it's a name, and so I feel like it's not always what it should be. Yeah.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about that we should have talked about?
That's a good question. What do you want to talk about?
I feel like we've gone around the world, literally.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a new wave of kitchens coming. I think there's a new wave of chefs, approaching food in a very, I'm going to say, spiritual way, and that is thanking whatever source it comes from for it, growing it, putting time, love, and effort into the beginning stages, into the seed before it is sown, and then the product of that love and that watering and that soil being looked after to plates, like farm to plate, but done in a very Michelin-esque way, I guess, and calm, serene kitchens with encouraging staff and encouraging principalities and well-formed teams well-informed teams, I think we're starting to drop this, if I teach them, they might get to the success first.
Right.
I think we're losing that, and that makes my heart very, very happy, because that's the only way we're going to achieve greatness in anything that we're doing as humanity anyway. But if you can collaborate, because collaboration is relationship, that's all it is. If you can collaborate and do things through connection and do things through gratitude rather than from an egotistical point of view, to be the man, to be the 3-star chef, to be the one on the front of Forbes. And it's easy for someone to say they don't want that if it's already happened to them or whatever.
Right.
But accolades will come. Accolades will come anyway. If you sort your shit out and just center yourself a little bit and don't get so stressed out about things that don't matter, because if I had a word of advice for any up-and-coming chef, it's just remember, you are not saving lives here.
I used to say that all the time in my staff meetings. I'm like, babes, we are not doing brain surgery.
No, it ain't brain surgery.
So, like, it's cool.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean slack off and be ridiculous, but let's also put it into perspective.
Yeah. Don't give yourself such a hard time, right? Allow yourself a little bit of grace. Mistakes will happen. Most of the best food on the planet has happened because of mistakes. Let yourself make a few mistakes, man. It's okay. The world isn't going to end. Yeah. No one's going to die on the operating table. The only pressure that there should be in a kitchen is just getting the food to the customer in time. We get that. And your perfection state from beginning of the prep to the point that it meets the plate. But you're never going to get there. You're never going to have a restaurant that's churning out a 99% track record with fear and doubt in people's hearts. You're just not going to get there. And I've seen every single case now, trust me. In my 40s, been in many different kitchens, and I've seen every single type of kitchen there is. And the ones that thrive the best are the ones where everybody is smiling and collaborative and happy to be at work. And you don't really see kitchens of that level operating like that. So I'm looking forward to the next 5 to 10 years, because I know it's coming. I know it's on the way. We've all decided we are no longer happy with that, that brash, that like very rude, very over-disciplinary, very aggressive kitchen behavior anymore. It just doesn't suit what we're doing. And then imagine sending that food out when someone's literally just been holding back tears as they've plated it up, because they're getting told they're never going to amount to anything, they're a piece of shit, they're getting fired after this service because, they didn't pick the chives correctly or whatever, or the sauce went in the wrong area of the plate, or that plate gets flung off the glass and smashed on the wall, and this guy's got to keep his cool together and get it together properly this time to be sent to this guest. And then we eat that. We go into the restaurant, we sit there and eat that. I'm telling you, there's an energy transference which isn't going to benefit you there. You're paying all that money to eat someone's negative energy. So I don't want that for the industry. I want food from happy places, man. It's soul food.
Yeah.
You want food that's going to feed your soul, not because, it's just like a lekker bowl of something delicious, but the principle that, put it together, the reason behind the dish, the where it came from, is rooted in gratitude, one, but also rooted in a little bit of peace, a little bit of love, Nourishment. The whole point of eating is to nourish. So if you are not nourishing the soul of this person when this plate is going out, well, the body can't live without the soul, and the soul can't be in the body without the body. So there's got to be a bit of giving there, and I think that is the way that the modern chef is leaning toward, I think, and that is a real cool thing to see.
My last question for you: if your life was a postcard, what would the picture look like?
What would the picture look like? Actually, it's not that much of a hard question. What would it look like? It would be me and Daniela on the back of a motorbike with a little hamper or basket or whatever, with a bottle of bubbles and a picnic. We're just off somewhere doing something. Yeah, big smiles. Our life at the moment is we're not stuck in one area of the world. We get to travel, we get to do things, we get to collaborate with other chefs and other wellness practitioners like the pair of us. We get to heal people on that journey, and we get to nourish people. So yeah, we're very much on that plane, motorbike, whatever. But we're traveling, we're drinking bubbles, and we're happy.
Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.